Hello, this is the bass installment of Live from the Loading Dock with a focus on the bass part and walking the chord changes. My name is David Odegaard, and I'm the applied bass instructor and bassist for the faculty jazz combo here at Tennessee Tech University. It is common in jazz or swing charts for the bass player to be provided a bass part with both written out sections and sections where only chord changes are provided over the measures where they change. Such sections often use slash notation to imply the beat, but offer no written out part, so this begs the question, what is the bass player to do in these sections? The task is a form of improvisation, just like solo improvisation. Therefore, a comparable set of skills are drawn upon and developed to provide a walking bass line from chord changes. In our recording of Chris McCormick's composition Live from the Loading Dock, one can hear me draw upon three staple techniques that I will now briefly outline. On your screen is the first page of the bass chart. The chart starts with a written out introductory section. This section formally serves to separate the other sections of the piece. It keeps returning. The other sections of the piece are the main melody and improvised solo sections, and it is in these sections that require a walking bass line be played from chord changes over slash notation, as can be seen in the lower half of the chart on your screen. Number one, the root is where we live. As bassists, it's our harmonic role. The other players are expecting it. It provides improvisers and listeners a clear foundational map through the chord changes. As we walk through our bass line, it's important to arrive on the root of the chord when the chord changes. This is often on beat one. A starting point for players first confronted with this is to play the chord root on every beat of the measure, changing the root of the chord as the next chord presents itself. I trust you'll agree that the need for variation quickly becomes apparent. And that brings us to number two, walking the connection between chords. This is done by outlining the chord linearly. Unlike a chordal player, such as a piano or guitarist, who can play multiple chord tones at the same time metrically, as bassist, we have to spread them out over the beats of the measure. So linearly, we can outline the chord, that being the root, being the priority, but then the third, the fifth, and the seventh of the chord. Along with this, we can add scale fragments or use scale fragments, small stepwise fragments of the appropriate scale, major, minor, diminished, or a blues scale. And these are given to us by the chord extensions, which are outlined on your graphic on the screen in blue. And the next point of walking these connections would be to go for what I call the color notes in the extensions. The chord choices are informed by the extensions. So you can have flat 5, flat 9s, sharp 9s, 13s. If you can recognize those and incorporate them at appropriate times in your walking line, this is a higher order skill. Yeah. And this brings us to number three. It's where you're going that is always at hand. This is a concept and a skill. As an extension of walking the bass line between chords, that idea, at the moment of arrival on the new chord, the most important concern at that moment is, and really always is, where are you going next? This is another higher order skill. So as you're walking the bass line and it progresses and seeks the goal of the next chord change, at the same time, your eye must scan ahead so you know where you're going next, always knowing where you're going as you're arriving where you are. So at the same time you arrive, If you don't know where you're going, it's too late. So your eye must always actively scan forward to the next chord change to offer a continuity and a flowing line. Of course, there's so much more. So please feel free to reach out to me or the Tennessee Tech Jazz faculty if you would like further discussion and ideas developing a vocabulary to walk a bass line through chord changes. I hope you enjoy Live from the Loading Dock.